Okay, I'd like to bring this Environmental Services Committee meeting to order, please. And I'm going to pass it over to Steve for discussion. Go ahead, Steve and Christine.
Thank you, Chair. I was given some direction. This came up quite a while back, and we had talked about putting me in the office full-time instead of being at the landfill 2 days a week, and this time of year 3 days a week. And then I was on vacation and it came up and it was tabled. So it's coming up again. I want to be clear with committee. The direction I was given was to hire a full-time, I think that the notion was an assistant. And if I didn't explain my requirements clearly, I do apologize for that. What the department needs is part-time help at the waste site, so I can spend every Monday to Friday doing my office work. Now, the landfill operator and I have made this work for 11 years, and if need be, we'll continue to make it work. But I am falling further and further behind on the paper aspect of it. So I'm going to ask again, with all due respect, because I know the direction I was given, the department, in my opinion, at this point in time, does not need a full-time staff member. It needs a part-time individual to work solely at the waste site, not as my assistant in the office or anything like that. Yes, and this individual is going to work. Right now, I can employ them 3 days a week for likely the spring, summer, fall. But come the dead of winter, this individual would be at the waste site 2 days a week, every Wednesday and Saturday. That's what I truly need, not a full-time person and then lay them off in the winter, because that just puts me right back to the landfill in the winter. So I'd like to have a little more discussion on it, if we could.
Mayor Johnson.
Steve, our intention was not to hire you an assistant by any means. It was just to have somebody, we suggested put them in full-time, and if you had to lay them off, but you can also go full-time, part-time, and so you can adjust their hours or make that's your job description for anything there is. But our intention, I think our intention was just to have them at the waste site exclusively.
Christine.
Just to recap, expanding on the mayor's point, so the tabled motion from May 20th is in your package, and the wording that I was instructed to give was recommend that council include in budget for a full-time seasonal landfill operator. So if we were to draft a new motion for tonight, then that description would be replaced with the description of full-time, part-time, and then that could perhaps be where your vote goes, or the wording for the motion.
I just have a question for Steve. Are you looking at Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday? Is that correct?
Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
You're still going to keep the landfill closed on Mondays?
Yes.
Okay. And are you looking at hours from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock? Is that what you're thinking, or?
Well, they can. There's work to do after we close the gates, so that person can be 7:30 to 4, like I work, or the current landfill operator is there from 7 to 3:30. So that can that's just a simple decision to make.
That's pretty minor then.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 3 days a week, and then in the winter time, cutting it down to 2 days,
Correct.
being Wednesday and Saturday. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do we want to make a motion that way, or do we want to keep the motion as it is? Or what do we want for a motion? Okay. Okay, before I do this, could I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Kathy, second by Dave. Kathy right here. Christine, before I read this motion.
Just to address your previous comment, Chair, I'd like to ask if you consider just leaving it at full-time, part-time to give
Okay.
the department manager the latitude.
Yeah, we'll give them more flexibility. I like that idea. I have a motion here moved by Kathy Rager, seconded by Dave Mackay. Be it resolved that the Environmental Services Committee recommend to Council to direct staff to hire a full-time, part-time individual to work at the landfill site. Any further discussion? If not, I will... Okay, I will call for a vote. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah. But I think that wraps up the environmental services. After the vote? Yes, go ahead.
Just want to say that everybody seems to really like your recycling program there, and I was talking to a lady today, and I've talked to other people. They really like that idea of she brought 3 or 4 boxes in that kids didn't put out. So I think it's working very good. So congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it is working well. The only issue that we do have, and it's minor, there's a real misconception out there that if it's plastic, it's recyclable. So we're pulling a lot of things out of the container that's not recyclable. Like flower pots, for example. But no, it's going quite well.
Ah, good. Okay. Oh, did you ever see that system they have there? It's good. Go to the dump once in a while, eh? Don't say Greg all the time. He has to do everything.
We'll start with the protective services. I have a motion here moved by Chris Olmsted, who is here. Is that okay? Maybe Terry. Okay, so I have a motion here moved by Terry Miller, seconded by Darrell McLaughlin. Be it resolved that the Protective Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to Council that the Ellis family be exempt from existing bylaws and that address keeping poultry in Whitewater Region and may continue to be poultry hobbyists due to exceptional circumstances. All other residents will be expected to abide by bylaw 010945, section 3.1. Any comments or questions? And perhaps, Doug, can you just expand on this a little bit, please?
Yes, we've been having a few phone calls about chickens in the village areas and complaints about them crowing and stuff like that. But this family here has provided us with some literature that it's very helpful to their children, and so that's why we're here to give them some relief.
Can I just ask, how many chickens are we talking about here that this family?
What I've been told that there's probably 5 to 10 chickens there.
And do we have any complaints from neighbors, neighboring?
We do have complaints from the neighbors, or we wouldn't be here today.
Okay. Reeve Miller.
I've met this family and met these children, and I would like to point out that the documentation that Doug refers to is coming from a family doctor who does not want to disrupt this for the sake of those kids. These kids need help. That's the best way I can describe it, and this is their comfort zone. And I don't think that many chickens can really affect things when it comes to children.
Sorry, Councillor McKay and then Councillor McLaughlin.
Me and Mayor Johnson went to see this lady, and we met the children, and it doesn't seem, there's a very small amount of chickens. And I don't think, I think people are just trying to cause trouble for them. That's what I believe.
Councillor McLaughlin?
Well, I know it may be, and I agree with what Reeve Miller's saying, but I think maybe we should limit, if we're going to do something, we should maybe put a limit on the amount of poultry that could be left, and I'm thinking 5 is in my thoughts, because, I mean, if you leave it open, there could be, who knows how many. We need to put a limit. If 5 isn't correct, but I think there needs to be a limit if we're going to do this.
Reeve Miller and then Mayor Johnson.
I would agree with that, but let's not murder 10 chickens here. That's the whole point. Let's figure out how many they got and set the limit close, and because that's what this amounts to for these children, okay? Let's make that clear.
Mayor Johnson.
They have, their facility is without windows and has fans and climate control, sort of. So they do have a rooster, but their doors are closed until a respectable time in the morning. And this is, I've seen it twice, dropped in, just twice, once with Council Mackay. And everything is kept well, cleaned, and so forth. And I also have met the children, and I really do feel this is therapeutical, and I'm totally in favor of working with this. 10 chickens isn't too much for the facility they have. Maybe.
Okay. I would agree with it, but I do agree with Councillor McLaughlin. I think we do need to put some kind of limit on it, because if they decide to pull in 30 chickens, and we have this bylaw saying they can, so we really do need to limit it. If we know how many they are, I think we can certainly work with it. Doug?
So,
and then Reeve Miller.
So I guess then I'll visit them and find out how many chickens they have, and then we'll say that's the maximum limit.
Everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Yep, excellent.
Okay.
Thank you. Christine?
For the motion then, Deputy Clerk Dillabo, maybe you could put in something about limited to the existing number of chickens as of today's date, or something like that. Something that defines it a bit.
That's perfect. Reeve Miller?
We don't have to revisit it again.
I agree with that, and I would ask if possible, if staff could do what you just said, determine that number, and then meet with these people personally and put it in writing for them. They would like to have something that sort of they can show the children, and the chickens are good. I talked to her earlier this evening, and then she asked that we get back to her on this, but I I guess with the count, we would have been back to her anyway, but
Yes.
something in writing would be nice.
Definitely, we will do that, Terry.
Okay, thank you.
Today's date.
Every egg's a potential
Yeah.
chicken, remember that. Doug, every egg's a potential chicken, remember that.
Okay, do I need to reread the bylaw or read this again? With the, okay. So be it resolved that the Protective Services Committee at the Township of Whitewater Region recommends to council that the Ellis family be exempt from existing bylaws and limit the amount, and that address keeping poultry in Whitewater Region and limit the amount of chickens on site as of August 5th, 2015. All other residents will be expected to abide by bylaw 010945, section 3-1. Councillor McLaughlin.
Wonder, Doug, does there need to be anything put in there that they must be kept housed? Does that need to be put in there?
I think that from our experience that every time we went there, they have been housed. So, I think that they are doing a practice like that, and maybe in my letter, I'll mention that in my letter that they should be kept in house.
Because I do feel that might be a wise thing, so that would be done.
Okay, is everybody okay with that? I'll call for a vote then. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, item number 2 is OPP 911 pocket dials and citizen self-reporting information. And Christine, do you have information on that? Thank you.
Yeah, I got talking with Beth Etier not too long ago, and I can't remember what the percentage number was, but the OPP are facing absolutely an enormous problem with false calls, with pocket and purse dials. Because they are obligated to respond. They don't know if someone's lying on the floor having a heart attack. And a lot of people tend to just, when they realize what's happened, they just terminate the call. Well, the switchboard doesn't know that. So this is really just for information. And we have put this information out in our newsletter that's going out with the current tax bills. I was surprised at what a problem it is, and I think, just for education for people. And the other piece to this is, again, trying to take the load off calling officers out for response, which all has a price tag. Marcia knows that better than anybody about what our OPP bill looks like. There is now citizen self-reporting for reporting non-emergency incidents to police. So I was hoping through putting this in the council package, it would help to get the word out there. And, I think the OPP are really, as Detachment Commander Smith told us when he was here last year, they're really trying to find any way they can to get their officers out there doing what they need to be doing, not answering false 911 calls and reporting on, showing up for a stolen lawnmower. So these items are just for information.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Christine O'Garnett? Okay, we'll move on then. Oh, sorry, Darrell?
I just wondered, Christine, if maybe you could contact Beth if she would come and do a presentation or somebody to tell us just exactly what this is costing our municipality, because I know you're right. Every call has got a dollar sign on it. So.
Sorry, Mayor
I
Johnson.
think we contacted Colin, run through detachment, that falls within his spectrum. And it's, part of the thing is, we've got a whole 2 generations probably ahead of us and ahead of us that have been educated to call 911 for everything. And now there's a price tag on 911 all of a sudden. And so now we've got to take the great big 911 off the sign, reword it, and put in an emergency only. Because People are phoning 911 for everything, you know. You drive down the road, they see smoke coming out of somebody's car, which could be anything, 911. You know, so now you got the fire department, the police department, got everybody responding to a bogus call, and that's what is starting to happen. There is a cost to that, a big cost to that.
I'd be happy to do that. I'll get a hold of Colin Slate. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. We're just going to have to do a housekeeping here. We need a mover and a seconder. We're going to have to extend the meeting, so I've got a motion here. Be it resolved, the Protective Services Committee of the town. Oh, there we go. Hope we're good then. Okay. Thank you. You're too efficient. Okay, so we'll move ahead to item 3, which is a Beachburg House Property Standards Complaint. Doug, if you can take it away.
Yes, on the main street of Beachburg, we have a building there that's in derelict, and started about 3 years ago when the water, one morning there we had a water leak there, and we had to go in, and Bill's guys went in and shut the water off, and then at that time the hydro shut the power off, and there was nobody living in the building at the time. We've been trying to get a hold of the guy. We mail him letters of the address that we have, and we can't find him. So we've issued orders to comply on the building to, have the grass cut, and we cut the grass once, but the neighbors have been greatly appreciated because they're cutting the grass for us, which is fine. There's windows at the front of the building that there was old newspaper on that makes it look real kind of raggedy and stuff like that. So in our property standards bylaw, it says that we can board the windows up. I talked to the mayor, and the mayor said he'd rather have them painted white to make it look real good. He said he didn't really like the idea of boarding them up because it almost looks like shabbier. So we're just waiting until the last appeal period goes on it. It's 14 days from August the 3rd that the person has come back. The letter has come back that there's no way we can find him. I did start today. I painted one of the windows already, so it's in the process. And then it started to rain.
Councillor Mackay.
Does this guy pay his taxes on that building?
I'm not going to talk about that. It's in a process right now.
Okay.
Okay. That was my question as well. So, yeah, especially with the kayaking championships coming up, that is on Main Street, and it is an eyesore. Yes. So it'd be, I agree with Mayor Johnson. I think it would look much better painted, nice bright white, and kind of hide it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And, that's a great idea. I'm sure Paula Troutman could probably decorate it up somehow, too. She would be able to do that. Councillor McLaughlin.
Is there any liabilities for us doing that?
Our property standard says that we can board them up and barricade them and that. It doesn't say that we can paint them. So if council wants me to do that, that's a direction I got from council. We could cut plywood and paint it all white and put it on it there too, but it's up to council how they want us to deal with it.
I'm just worried about the liability issue if somebody got hurt when you're doing this work, and if one of our workers...
I think I'm okay to paint.
You think you're... Well, I really think we could probably hire a painter a lot cheaper than having our bylaw officer doing it.
There's only 4 or 5 windows at the front there, Darryl, so
I can come over and help you. Let me know when you're going.
It's not going to take me too long.
Okay. Any other comments on this?
So in order for CBO Schultz to have direction in the public record, the deputy clerk is drafting a motion.
Okay, if I could have a mover and a seconder. Okay, so how about Reeve Miller and Mayor Johnson? Okay, moved by Reeve Miller, seconded by Mayor Johnson. Be it resolved that the Protective Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs staff to paint the windows at the Beachburg House located at 1802 Beachburg Road due to the property standards issues. Does that sound okay? Done?
Front windows.
Front windows, okay. Paint the front. The front windows. Everyone okay with that? We'll call for a vote. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug. Okay. Oh, the fire truck. Thanks, Christine. One last item we just want to put on here was just in the previous discussion of the Public Works, and that is for the fire truck to get the quote for that. So I just need a mover and a seconder for that. So Mayor Johnson and Councillor Mackay. So moved by Mayor Johnson, seconded by Councillor Mackay. Be it resolved, the Protective Services Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region directs staff to put out an RFP for a frontline pumper fire truck. Do I need to say for the Foresters? No, eh? No. Okay, so I'll cut that. To put out an RFP for a frontline fire truck. Frontline pumper fire truck. Any additional conversation? All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Why can't we say Foresters Falls or Station, whatever? Just, that's an FYI. FMY.
Because I don't know that that's where the truck would be going.
It would be if we made a motion.
Yes, it would be.
I'd like to revisit that. Because I think that's where it should be going.
I think that's for a different time. Let me get the first part of this rolling, and then we can discuss where the truck goes.
Mr. McLaughlin?
I really think that's up to the Public Works Supervisor and the Fire Chief to decide where they're going to do it. There's going to be, obviously there is going to be something put in place, so, and that's what we're looking for.
That's right.
Are you okay with that, Mayor Johnson?
I guess so.
Okay, thank you very much.
The press is still in here. Okay, all right. Moved by Darrell McLaughlin, seconded by Terry Miller. Be it resolved, the Public Works Committee of the Township of Whitewater Region went into closed session, Section 239, 2, Municipal Act at 9 o'clock. For the following purpose, okay. security and property of the Corporation of Township Whitewater Region Local Board. All in favor?